back to our channel. Follow Genoa City Addicts. Today is an absolutely wild day to be a fan of the show. We are diving headfirst into the latest, most chaotic twists, and trust us, you are going to need to sit down for this one. Let's not waste another second and jump straight into the madness. I cannot believe they did that. I am literally typing this at 10 a.m. because I am so fired up and I just cannot sleep after watching that episode. Are we seriously doing this again? Are we actually watching Jack Abbott, the patriarch of the Abbott family, willingly fake a romantic relationship with Patty Williams? Patty Williams. The woman who literally kidnapped him, locked him on an abandoned yacht, drugged him out of his mind, and sexually compromised him. And now Jack is pretending to be head over heels for her. I am screaming at my television screen. I know some people are loving this dark, twisted psychological thriller vibe, but personally, I am having a really hard time watching Jack have to smile and court his abuser. But at the same time, I get it. I completely get why he is doing it, and that is what makes this whole storyline so incredibly tragic and captivating. Because let's be real, what other choice does Jack have right now? He and Kyle finally sat down, looked at the facts, and realized they have to proceed under the assumption that Diane is being held captive somewhere against her will. And when Patty waltzed into the Abbott mansion and shoved that horrifying photo in Jack's face, the one of Diane lying unconscious, drugged out of her mind in a white, soundproof padded room, Jack's entire demeanor shifted. You could see the exact moment his heart shattered, but also the moment his resolve hardened. He told Kyle that he is going to have to put on the performance of a lifetime. And honestly, Peter Bergman is acting his absolute heart out here. The subtle disgust in his eyes while he forces a smile for Patty. Give the man an Emmy right now. He is playing a dangerous, deadly game of chess with a woman who has zero grip on reality. And speaking of having zero grip on reality, can we talk about Dr. Lawrence Markham for a second? Because I'm ready to reach through my screen and strangle this man. Diane is locked in this bizarre house or cabin. The doors are locked, the windows are probably barred. And this shady psychiatrist is standing there trying to gaslight her into believing she had a massive mental breakdown in her car. But Diane Jenkins Abbott is nitrogen monoxide full. I love that she is fighting back. She is sitting there looking this quack dead in the eye and telling him that she knows she is perfectly sane and that all 5 of her senses are telling her he is lying through his teeth. Diane is not the kind of woman who just rolls over and accepts a fake diagnosis, especially from some creep she doesn't even know. But then Markham does the unthinkable. He actually threatens her. He tells Diane that if talk therapy doesn't work, he might have to resort to other methods. What does that even mean in the context of Patty Williams and Victor Newman's payroll? It is so chilling. And then he tries to force her to eat, probably because the food is laced with more sedatives to keep her compliant. Diane's eyes went so wide, and you could see the absolute terror setting in as she realized this isn't just a misunderstanding, this is a deeply personal, highly orchestrated plot against her. She asked him who he really is and what this is all about. But of course, Markham lies and says there is no conspiracy. He even has the audacity to claim that Jack put him in charge of her care. Think about the psychological torture of that. Markham is trying to convince Diane that her own husband, the man she loves, thinks she is crazy and locked her away for her own good. It is so sick and twisted, but Diane knows Jack. She knows Jack would never do this to her without talking to her first, and she demands to speak to him. Markham, being the ultimate villain pawn, claims that talking to Jack would just trigger another breakdown. It is classic, textbook gaslighting, and it makes my blood boil. Meanwhile, Patty is on the phone with Markham, and she doesn't even care if Diane is cooperating or not. She literally tells him that it doesn't matter because she has already set her plan in motion and she has no doubt she will get everything she wants by the end of the night. And boy, does Patty go for it. Jack summons her, and he is playing the part perfectly. He tells her he is ready to build a future together, but he tries to set a boundary. He asks to speak to Diane's doctor just to check on her health, but Patty is cunning. She assures Jack that it's someone else, not Markham, because using Markham would be a conflict of interest. He asks if Patty cares about ethics, but then she drops the ultimate ultimatum. She tells Jack that if he agrees to this, there is no turning back. She demands his complete commitment. She wants his mind, his body, his soul, and his heart. I felt physically ill watching her demand that from him. And Jack looks her right in the eyes and says, "I'm fully committed." My answer is yes, the chills that went down my spine. He admits it's a big adjustment and he might need some time, but Patty is just living in her own delusional fairy tale. She giggles, literally giggles, and says she can be patient because it feels like old school courting. Old school courting, you are blackmailing a man with his kidnapped wife's life. There is nothing romantic about this, but Patty is so far gone that she actually believes Jack is falling for her again. She is so thrilled that she declares them an official couple and announces they are taking their romance out into the open. Going public. With Patty Williams, I can't even. So what does Jack do? He takes her to society for cocktails. Because of course, if you are going to fake a high-profile romance with your psychotic ex, you take her to the most public, gossip-filled restaurant in Genoa City. And Kyle, bless his heart, actually plays his part perfectly. Kyle shows up and acts completely outraged seeing his dad with Patty. It adds the perfect layer of authenticity to the ruse, making Patty believe that Jack is defying his own family to be with her. It is actually a brilliant strategy, even if it is incredibly hard to watch. Kyle is finally doing something useful instead of just whining about Claire or Audra. But the absolute best part of the society scene was Abby Winterswell, Newman Abbott, walking in and seeing Jack cozying up to Patty Williams. Abby looked like she was going to throw up right there on the pristine society floor. She was furious, and honestly, same Abby, same. But Jack manages to pull Abby aside privately and explains the situation. He tells her he is trying to gather intel on Diane's whereabouts and that he needs her to play along. And Abby, being the absolute queen that she is, flips the switch immediately. She puts on a fake smile, grabs a bottle of champagne, and brings it over to their table to celebrate. The toast they shared was a masterclass in soap opera dialogue. Patty raises her glass and toasts to their wonderful romantic adventure, and Jack raises his glass, looks her dead in the eye, and toasts to everyone getting what they deserve. I screamed. It was so shady, so perfectly delivered. Jack is basically promising Patty that she is going to go down in flames, and she is too blinded by her own obsession to even realize it. Jack is playing for D-chess right now, and I am so here for it, even if the stakes are terrifyingly high. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. After the society spectacle, Jack calls a secret family meeting at the Abbott mansion. He gathers Kyle, Abby, Billy, and Tracy. And you guys, this scene was everything. We haven't had a good, solid Abbott family strategy session in way too long. Jack lays it all out on the table. He tells them the horrific details about Diane, about the padded room, about Patty's demands. He makes it crystal clear that faking this relationship is his only option to keep Diane alive and figure out where she is being held. He also reveals that Detective James Burrow is quietly investigating in the background. Thank goodness they actually involve the police on some level, even if it has to be completely under the radar. But Jack knows that Patty is a massive wild card. There is so much concern from the family about the damage Patty could still do. Billy is pacing, Kyle is stressed, and Tracy is just looking at Jack with so much empathy and fear. But Jack insists that he is going into this with his eyes wide open. He promises them that when the time is right, he is going to turn the tables on Patty and destroy her. But then, Jack drops the absolute biggest bombshell of the entire episode. The thing that made me jump off my couch and yell at the TV. Jack tells them that he has a request, and it's going to affect Tracy and Kyle more than anyone else. They look confused, asking what he needs them to do, and Jack takes a deep breath and says, Patty wants to move in. Patty Williams wants to move into the Abbott mansion, and because she wants Jack all to herself, that means Tracy and Kyle have to move out. I am sorry. What Tracy Abbott, the heart and soul of the Abbott family? The woman who literally anchors that entire house. Being kicked out of her own home to make room for the woman who once kissed a young Summer Newman with peanut butter lips knowing she had a deadly allergy. The woman who swapped faces with Dr. Emily Peterson. I cannot accept this. I absolutely cannot. I know Jack has to play along, but kicking Tracy out is a step too far. Tracy just survived that horrific psychological torture from Martin Laurent, who pretended to be his twin brother to manipulate her. And now she is being evicted from her safe haven by another psychopath. Honestly, I am terrified of what Patty might do once she is living under the same roof as Jack. This woman is unhinged. What happens when Jack has to go to sleep? Is he going to lock his door? What if Patty expects more? Jack agreed to commit his body and soul to her. If Patty tries to force her way into Jack's bed, I don't know how Jack is going to keep up the act without completely breaking down. The trauma he must be feeling right now, reliving the nightmare of the yacht, is unimaginable. He is putting himself through absolute hell to save the woman he loves, and if Diane doesn't appreciate this when she is finally rescued, I am going to riot. So what comes next? Will Dr. Markham actually use those other methods on Diane before Jack can find the cabin? Will Abby or Billy slip up and reveal the truth to someone who shouldn't know? And what is Victor Newman doing during all of this? We all know Victor probably bankrolled Patty's entire operation. If Jack finds out that Victor funded his wife's kidnapping and forced him into this sickening fake romance, the Abbott-Newman war is going to reach a level of violence we haven't seen in decades. I am dreading tomorrow's episode, but I also cannot wait to see what happens. This show has me in an absolute chokehold right now, and I need to know that Jack and Diane are going to make it out of this alive.